The response to the global financial crisis just blew my fucking mind. I mean, they took the cost of capital down to zero. They printed trillions of dollars. I mean, this was just like such an enormous and large distortion of capitalism that I was like, I can't believe they're doing this. And the implications are obviously going to be inflationary, and they have been, but not in the way I originally thought. And so I pivoted, and I opened a fund focused on investing in gold and silver mining companies, because the last period of inflation we had in the United States was in the 70s. And in the 70s, the two best performing stock categories were oil and gas and gold and silver mining. And so I thought, okay, if we're going to have inflation because these guys are mispricing capital, I got to get into that. So, I started in the gold and silver mining space, and I've been in that space since that time, and with a lot of ups and downs and some real travails and punches in the face. But, gold still is sound money, and it's still, this mining fund will eventually work. It's worked, but it's, like I say, it's had a lot of ups and downs, and eventually I'll exit that because Bitcoin's a much better form of gold. Gold is money as a ledger that is managed by geology, right? The Earth's crust. Okay. Fiat is money as a ledger that's managed by a government. Bitcoin is money as a ledger that's managed by by an unmovable computer algorithm with 21 million coins. And so sound money is money that cannot be politically diluted. I mean, and there's dilution in all, there has been, until Bitcoin, and that's why Bitcoin is so significant. Until Bitcoin came along, there was dilution in all forms of money, even gold. The supply of gold grows at 1.7% a year. That means in 55 years, the amount of gold on the planet doubles. Okay, so we've always had money that was had dilution, but gold was always the one with the lowest dilution because fiat's grown at about 7% a year. So gold was the best alternative before Bitcoin came along. When Bitcoin came along, they actually solved this problem. We now, and this is really big, and when historians look back on this, they're going to note this. We now had a form of money that could not be diluted. It's like, whoa, that just didn't exist before, right, Mark? I mean, it did not exist before, which is why this thing's performing differently than everything else. It's performing so, I mean, it's what makes this situation so unique. And a lot of people, they want to put the old models on it. The old models don't really apply because it's a new technology, totally different. It's a technical innovation that changes all the money rules. And by the way, the Fed grew out of the panic of 1907 when Morgan saved the whole country. Every time they get in a pinch, they're like, great, you got to bail us out. What does that mean? Print money. And that print money, what that is, that's a hidden tax on every single hardworking person who's been saving for their whole career. And they just paid for the bailout of that bank. I mean, you're hearing stuff that 1 in 1,000 people in this country understand. But to those who've studied the financial system, you can just see it as clear as day that the money has been printed to save the banks over and over again. So back to the banking example, in the book I call for this, banks should be like any other business. If they fail, they fail. Money fails when people realize you can never stop printing money. They will never stop. I mean, I've realized they will never stop printing money. I think most of the people in this room have a pretty good sense that that's true as well. Whole country doesn't know that yet. But it's
intoxicating. Politicians will use that tool if it benefits them in the short term.
And by the way, it's the only tool they have. I mean, it's like, they got a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The government and the banks have to stop colluding at the cost of all the people, because the original premise of this country was all men and women are created equal. And, guess what? They're not. The bankers aren't equal. Government people aren't equal. They got a different deal. They got a special deal because of the way the system's constructed.